Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah, get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, bet you this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he's king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, aka the hardest part of the ring. Now, I noticed you hit play on this podcast. Well, I hope you weren't planning on leaving this because there's no way out. Fuck, man. You ever start telling a joke and then realize it's fucking dumb? Because there's no way out to the event. Yeah, what hilarity can I jumpstart this episode with? I got it. Yeah, I'm gonna tell them there's no way out of this episode. Good comedic instincts by the old HPOTR, but WWF No Way Out 2002. Man, quick sidebar. I miss No Way Out. I don't know about you guys. I miss having where the pivot pay-per-view between Rumble and WrestleMania was just like an evergreen kind of show. It didn't have to be Elimination Chamber. You know what I mean? It wasn't, on the nose like Fastlane. Fastlane's okay, but do we need Elimination Chamber every single goddamn... whatever. I did a whole episode on that, so go check that out in the archives. Grinding my gears gimmick matches, but... We're here, we're queer, and we're at No Way Out 2002. And, man, this time period is fucking fascinating to me. Let me tell you why. And as I've mentioned ad nauseum, if you're a frequent listener of this podcast, but this is an era that I'm not familiar with. I've never watched it live. I didn't watch it live, and I haven't really gone back and watched much of it other than, the big four pay-per-views, right? So No Way Out, again, like I said, it's kind of just exists to be the pivot point between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and that is in full effect here. And like I said, the time period. So this is and I've questioned this several times over the course of these reviews. It's what do we call this era, right? Is it the Invasion era? Is it the NWO era? What is it? And I'll tell you this era fucking sucks. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, and when I say this era, I mean 2002 up until the Ruthless Aggression, until I guess the brand split, I guess. Because basically what you have, right, is you have all of the players from the Attitude Era. All the wrestlers, all the commentators, the announcers, the managers. You have all of these characters that you had in the Attitude Era. And what they're doing, rather than trying to evolve them, trying to evolve those existing characters, trying to bring in new characters, which is what they ultimately do with the Ruthless Aggression era. That's kind of what defines that era, is these new characters, these new storylines. But here in the first few months of 2002, you have those Attitude Era players, but with the tone of the Ruthless Aggression era, kind of. But what they're doing is they're trying to do the exact same thing they did in the late 90s and in 2000, I guess. They're trying to rekindle what worked at the height of the Attitude Era. You know, Stone Cold whooping ass, The Rock doing his thing, Kurt Angle being a dorky dickhead, Triple H, Undertaker, and then they bring around. We talk about this in the podcast. I'll try not to be too redundant here, but they bring in these like lower level guys like Goldust, Godfather, Val Venus, Mr. Perfect, and they're doing exactly what they did in the 90s, but guess what? It's a different time, and it doesn't work anymore. Val Venus's shtick is not over. They try to do it exactly the same, and it stinks. Same thing with Goldust. Same thing with Godfather. And we get into details about those guys in the episode itself. But essentially, Godfather tries to do the Godfather thing, but nobody cares, and then he leaves. Val Venus eventually, I think he gets hurt or something, and then he becomes Sean Morley. Goldust does his thing with Booker T. So eventually they kind of figure some stuff out, but right here they're in the process of like I said, square peg, round hole. Let's just jam it in until it works, and it just never does. And that's a constant thread throughout this pay-per-view that you see. And nothing quite represents that to the extent that the NWO does. That's right. That's right, folks. The NWO is debuting at NWO. New World Order at No Way Out, folks. Keep up. So I think it's a general consensus that the NWO's run in 2002 was, to say the least, lackluster, other than Hogan and Rock at WrestleMania. But outside of that, it is just... And I've always wondered that, right? Because I've never seen it. So I'm like, why was it so bad? It seems like a cool idea on paper, right? But we see in this episode with their debut what exactly made it so lackluster. And to add another layer onto it, not to babble on too long here, but this podcast, the Apron Bump, going back and forth between different timelines. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit. Right before I watched No Way Out 2002, I got done watching In Your House in 1995, In Your House 1, which is an episode that'll be coming out here in the next few weeks. But 1995, let's paint a picture for you. You got Diesel, aka Kevin Nash. Diesel is the young new guy, the cool dude with attitude, Diesel power. He's the WWF champion. He's the face of the company. He's the top guy, and he's young and spry and handsome. And then you also have Razor Ramon, who's very similar, has those traits to a similar extent. Just nobody cooler than Razor Ramon in 1995. New generation. He's like one of the faces of that. Top guy there. Great character, super over. Then you got Hulk Hogan over there in WCW in 95, which I also cover on this podcast. And say what you want about Hulk Hogan and his shitty big boot and his obsessed about his tricep veins. Lots to make fun of about Hulk Hogan. But the dude is in the best shape of his life in 1995. He's moving around pretty well for the most part. And you have those three guys. Hall, Nash, Hogan. In 1995, they're all at the top of their game physically. And then just to put you in my shoes, I go from watching that to watching this, which I can only describe 2002 NWO as like three dads trying to rekindle their younger years. You got Hulk Hogan slumped over and wrinkly. You got Scott Hall, battling all the stuff that Scott Hall kind of deals with, right? You have Kevin Nash, who's still in good shape, but he's gotten, 27 quad surgeries since 1995, so he's not moving around exactly. He's not taking any bumps. I don't know if you noticed this, but this dude takes no bumps in 2002. But to go from 95, when these guys are red hot, to 2002, where they're just shirts and jeans and Like, why are we threatened by these three old fucks? Like, for real, you know? So that's just another layer to it on how ridiculous the NWO is. But I've babbled long enough. We're on our way to WrestleMania 18. We're on our way to Rock Hogan. No Way Out exists, and it's very clear that the company is just trying to get to WrestleMania. But that makes it all the more hilarious, and how little build went into this show. But we get into that. So joining me on this show, got Nick and Sacco from the Universal Wrestling Podcast joining me today, and had a hoot of a time with these guys. I actually was fortunate enough to come on their podcast a few weeks ago for SummerSlam predictions. Still worth a listen if you so choose to. A really good time with those guys. And check out their podcast. You can listen to them wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow them on Twitter at the UW Pod. There's a link tree on their Twitter that'll take you to wherever you need to go. Also, check out their website, uwpod.com. Super cool dudes. Had a lot of fun with them on this episode. So let's get right into it. WWF No Way Out 2002 with myself and Nick and Sacco from the Universal Wrestling Podcast. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for making the time. Did you both get a chance to? Did you get a chance to watch the show?
Uh-oh.
God damn it, Saki.
I did, yeah. It was good. It wasn't great. It was lackluster, to be honest, but
yeah, it was.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bash it, but
no,
you know what it was? The crowd. The crowd just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. It's just.
Well, there's
Yeah.
There's a lot to get into with that, but I'm definitely on the same page as you.
But it was an important point for the WWE or F at the time.
Yeah.
Because this set up for Hogan and Rock, Austin and Scott.
Yeah.
What you tweeted about Stephanie.
Dude, I hope you guys are ready to spend at least 3 hours talking about Stephanie McMahon. So
yeah.
No, yeah, but like you said, I mean, this is it's an interesting time for the company, because let me ask you this: do you guys consider this the Attitude Era?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's like an in between Attitude and Ruthless Aggression. I don't know what you call it. NWO era, Invasion era,
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like early 2002. So this is an era that I've never actually seen because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. So this is kind of my first. I know like things that happen and stuff that through various like documentaries. Yeah. The poison into the oh fuck, man.
Fucking
but
nuts, dude. So like, over the top.
It's speaking of over the top. So the NWO basically is the major theme of this pay-per-view, obviously, which is clever, No Way Out, NWO. It's fun. We're having fun, right? Yeah. And that's just kind of like a representation of what this company is at the time. And it's because it's before Ruthless Aggression, which is when we're getting new stars. They're trying new things. But this period right before is them just seemingly trying to recreate the Attitude Era and just failing at every corner, seemingly. I even asked you, Nick, I was like, hey, do you remember Goldust or Godfather, Val Venus from this era? Because I didn't. And I watched all the Raws and SmackDowns leading up to it, and it is bizarre. Like you have Godfather coming out and with the ladies, right?
Yeah.
But it's no longer the hoes. No. It's the escorts. So he comes out here, he's like, oh, they're not hoes anymore. I'm like, oh, I guess they're getting PC. I guess, maybe it's degrading to women.
Yeah.
It's the transition.
So it's better to just say, hey, they're actually fucking the wrestlers for money. Just you're stripping all the entertainment value. You're no hoe train, no hat, no dancing. It's just hey, the Godfather comes out here in his stupid vest and he's like, hey, who wants to fuck these ladies?
Yeah, and I think Godfather actually brought that up in his interview with Stone Cold because I think he leaves shortly after, right? 2002.
Yeah,
with him and Val Venus. I think Val Venus gets hurt, and
Right.
Well, Godfather he said he wasn't having fun, and he's like, I'm out. So PC, you hit it right on the head there, Kyle.
Right, but I feel like being an escort is less PC than being a hoe. I mean, am I wrong on that? Maybe I don't know.
It's definitely
I guess at least you're making money as an escort, so maybe it's But then, because it's just like a version of something that was over in the Attitude Era, but done poorly. Yep. And that's a theme that we continue to see with guys like Val Venus, who again just doing the same thing, the hello ladies, but he doesn't really. There's like a charisma that he lost, or like a motivation, an excitement, whatever you want to call it. It's like lost. It's very clear. Yeah. And there's like a segment on, it's either Raw or SmackDown, where he's like, I have a heart on. And it's like it's Valentine's Day. He has a heart on his penis. It's like, Yep. And then there's like a plant in the crowd. He like brings like someone from the crowd, and then they like make out in the ring. It's like so like, there's no cleverness to it anymore. It's just like very like heavy-handed, and just not like the crowd's not into any of this. Not Godfather, not Val Venus. And not the NWO, really. At least eventually they would wear off. This pay-per-view they debuted, so obviously it's everybody's
big,
everybody's hyped to see the NWO. What are your guys' thoughts? Because I guess in general, as far as the NWO and their run, their second run in WWE, what were you guys' thoughts on it in general?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, it was cool to see them come to the WWE, but it was kind of after the invasion angle. Actually, not kind of. It was after the invasion angle.
Yeah.
So we all wanted them for so long to come, to be there, to be part of the invasion. And you know how it is with the contracts. We don't have to get into that. But they didn't show up. They were getting paid. They wanted to stay home. Regardless, to answer your question, it was lackluster, man. I don't know what it was, but obviously it leads to Hogan and The Rock, so that's really cool. But them being there, I don't know. It was okay. It was fun to watch.
Agreed. Lackluster was the good word to use. I mean, it wasn't very exciting, but like you said, it ended up with The Rock and Hogan, a dream match we would probably never see if it didn't happen. So,
yeah, and really that's the only thing we got out of it, really, because Nash and Hall are gone right after WrestleMania. Hogan sticks around for a little bit, I guess, but it's just
what was that? Nash was hurt, right? Nash got hurt.
Probably.
And Scott was just, the usual drugs.
Yeah, it's alcohol, literally you could just guess based on the people involved, and it's probably exactly right. Torn quad, too drunk. That's probably it.
That's it. Yep.
But the NWO, just lump that in with the Val Venuses, the Godfathers, even Mr. Perfect, who he has a segment later in the show, which we'll get into. Yeah. Just a lot of guys that were awesome at one point, and Vince is just like, hey, let's just do it again and see if the crowd still likes it. They don't.
No.
Even guys like Stone Cold, The Rock, because like Stone Cold's here, and he's Stone Cold. He's over.
Yeah.
But he's nowhere near what he was at the height of the Attitude Era. I mean, it's pretty much it's the what thing is in full effect here. He's almost more of a comedy guy in this period than anything else. The Rock, same thing. Like he's getting boozed at WrestleMania in that match with Hogan, so people are starting to wear thin on The Rock as well. Even especially when we get to like SummerSlam and he's facing Brock, and they're like basically telling him to go to Hollywood and fuck off.
Yeah.
So you got Austin and The Rock like not being, and top performance as far as being over. You have Triple H, his weird face run.
Yeah.
You have Kurt Angle's kind of hanging around. So even like your top stars that were so successful in the Attitude Era are not, hitting on all cylinders like they used to. So it's like a weird era, basically, is what I'm saying. But as far as the show goes, so we kind of talked about it before we started recording, but overall thoughts on No Way Out 2002?
Yeah, I mean, the crowd just wasn't there. And then if you, what you said earlier, it's, so many of these guys are not really past their prime, but they're still, I don't know. It's very odd. The pay-per-view itself had some really good matches, but it was just okay. It was lackluster. The NWO comes out, and it's the first time I've ever seen, someone come out and do an intro promo, 15 minutes to start the pay-per-view. It's very odd. It's like reminded me of Raw, and
right.
I don't like that. Well, I don't like Raw 2021, but back in the day,
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, for me, it was just It was okay. I enjoyed the Angle match. I enjoyed the Taker match with Rock and Stone Cold, dude. Like you said earlier, he still has it, man. In the ring, dude. Holy shit, he can still go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, would we be sitting here talking about this pay-per-view if NWO did not debut?
That's
yeah.
I mean,
that's a great point.
That's really all because, and we see this throughout the show. They're clearly like planting seeds for WrestleMania.
Yep.
They seemingly already know like what the card's going to look like. It's at least at the top of the card. So it's almost like they're just getting through this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a pivot point, I guess. But it didn't feel like you said, it kind of felt like a Raw at some points.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of guys, like even like Rock and Undertaker, like sounds like an awesome match, and it was a decent match. But it's like we've seen this, we've seen this all the time. We see it even like on Raws and SmackDowns. We see it, and Austin and Jericho, same thing. Kurt, Triple H, same thing. So it's like there's not a lot to get excited about on this pay-per-view other than the NWO, which is really the only selling point. And even then, that has its own issues. But we might as well get right into it. So like you said, NWO starts off the show, and I kind of like it's kind of a weird way to start a pay-per-view, but at the same time, it's also, I think, was the right call because that's what everybody's here to see. We just saw it recently when CM Punk returned on Rampage. It's the same kind of thing. It's like everybody's just gonna be sitting there waiting for the NWO if you don't just throw them out there in the beginning. So, and like theoretically, so like all three of these guys come out: Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and I feel like Hulk Hogan, really all three of these guys, but mainly Hulk Hogan. I feel like it should be a bigger deal that he's back with the because he hasn't been there since what, 93, right? It's been like 8 years, something like that. Yeah, because and then you have old Diesel, Razor Ramon. It just seems like we're looking at these guys like a package when it's like all three of these guys in their own right could be like a huge return. But for whatever reason, when you package them all together, it feels lackluster.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like the big pop was when Scott Hall said, "Hey, yo," It wasn't Scott, or it wasn't Nash, it wasn't Hogan, it was Scott Hall. I don't know, it was just very odd, but it was cool to see them back. That's something. Sacco brought it up. Would we be talking about this? Probably not. But overall, it was an okay promo. But it had to happen, like you said. It needed to happen.
Yeah, and so Kevin Nash speaks first. So the general theme of this promo is that NWO, they just want a second chance. They want a clean slate. I know we did some bad shit in the past, but it's easy breezy now. Time heals all wounds. I don't really know if they're talking like kayfabe wise, like they did a lot of bad stuff in WCW, or if they're talking like, hey, I know we left WWF high and dry in the midnight. But either way, I guess it doesn't matter. They're like, hey, we're back. Everything's fine now. It's cool. Then, like you said, hey, yo, Scott Hall, probably the biggest pop of the whole promo. And there's a clever line here. He says, "We're not the bad guys."
Yeah.
And it's like, we're just a couple of marks, which is hilarious. Yep. Then Hogan gets the mic, which before, like, just Hogan grabbing the mic was also a huge pop.
Yep.
But then Hogan just goes on to kind of piggyback on what the other guys are saying. Listening to Hogan speak in like a normal tone catches me off guard here. Yeah. I just watched a WCW show from '95, and he's like, "Well, let me tell you something, dude." Like talking like that. And now he's here like, listen, guys, listen, fellas, we're just here to have fun, like that kind of tone.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, NWO is here. They just want a clean slate. They just want a chance. I feel like it kind of lays out a predictable kind of trajectory. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I enjoyed the promo for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, right, for what it was. I mean, we were happy. At the time, I was happy they made their debut, so they could have came out and said nothing, and I would have been happy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah, and it just seemed, I don't know, like you said, Hogan was not, "Hey, brother," it was, "God bless America, God bless Vince McMahon." It's like, what are you saying? But then again, it leads to, Hogan is going to, I don't know if he's heel right now, but he's going to turn heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you hear it, even the fans, like you said, they popped. Like, oh shit, Hogan's there. but Hogan's going to be a heel. So maybe this is a feeling out process for Vince and them, to see if he really can be a heel. Because look at Cena. He's never going to be a heel. That's how Hogan was. He can't do it. No way. Leg drop, the bash. And, I mean, the story goes on. But it's a different audience. The WWF back in the day, a little bit different. So maybe it was just a feeling out process, I don't know.
Could have been. Yeah. Could have been. I mean, they went with it all the way to WrestleMania until, but then they eventually figured out, like, okay, nobody's gonna boo this fella. He's Hulk fucking Hogan. So, but then after that, we open up the show wrestling wise with a tag team Turmoil match.
Yeah.
And are you guys hyped for this?
Yeah.
Huh? Lance Storm, right, fellas?
Lance and Christian.
Man. This is it's before the Un-Americans officially were a faction, but it's basically the seed that is going to
and the champions too, Kyle. Holy shit! You wouldn't believe it,
Yeah, you wouldn't. But so this match is a Turmoil match, so a gauntlet style match, and the winner gets a title match at WrestleMania. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, WrestleMania 18, the tag team titles, isn't it a multi-team match?
I think it is. So what does this mean?
That's a great question there, Nicholas. It's almost like this match doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Yeah. Seems like a few matches here don't mean a thing. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead, but yeah, I'm here with you. I feel it. Yep, same thing.
Don't you dare besmirch Goldust, first of all. I could see it on the tip of your tongue, and I will not have that on this podcast.
Yeah, never.
So Lance Storm, Christian, the team of them facing against Scotty 2 Hotty and the Hip Hop Hippo, Albert. Did you like his dancing?
I had no clue they were together. So odd. I forgot about that.
I don't blame you because it's like they didn't know what the fuck to do with Albert, man. Like you have this huge, intimidating dude.
Yep.
Like he goes on to be A-Train, which is more the vein. I feel like he should have been utilized more.
Right.
But they put him with TNA, like tits and ass, right, folks?
Yeah. That's great shit.
And then X Factor, and now this. It's like, why are we trying to make him Sweet Tea already?
Yeah.
Like, wait 15 years or whatever it is, and then we can do that.
Brodus Clay.
Don't even.
And then Tensai. Like, who? What? Why?
Which could have been something. That seems like something that could have fit in like 95 or something, but not against John Cena. No. Didn't really click, I don't think. But Scotty goes for the worm on Christian, which the worm is still over this many years into their run. Yep. Always is. But Lance Storm, that damn Lance Storm interrupts it, distracts Scotty 2 Hotty and allows Christian to hit the Unprettier for the win. So the Canadians get the win and move on in the gauntlet, which brings out the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
So these guys are returning after a bit of a hiatus because they spent a few months feuding against each other in the later half of 2001. Do you guys have any recollection of that?
No, the only recollection I have is JR saying something, or I think it was King that said something. They're back. And I wanted to ask you, so they tried, right? Brother versus brother, and that didn't work out?
Yeah, it was, it might have just been one pay-per-view. It was Vengeance back in December of 2001. They had a match. Okay. And so the whole premise of the storyline was Jeff was taking too many chances. He was costing them matches. And then so Matt turned heel, broke up with Lita. Like, really, like he was beating the shit out of her and stuff. Like, it's 2001 wrestling. It's fun. It's not domestic violence. So they had that whole thing. But when they had a match at Vengeance, it just didn't click. It didn't click with the audience. It's like they tried too hard to have chemistry, if that makes any sense. So it just didn't.
Yeah.
They tried to wrestle a style that didn't fit them, and it's not what the crowd wanted. So it just didn't work. Like the whole storyline didn't work. Nobody wanted to boo the Hardys, either of them. So they both got written off by getting destroyed by the Undertaker, and they were off TV for like a month or so. So now they're back. Now they're a tag team, and we pretend like that didn't happen. That Vengeance nonsense. The Hardys are back here. So they're facing the Canadians here. Lance Storm accidentally hits Christian with a super kick And then Matt hits the twist of fate. Jeff hits the swanton. The Hardys win, and Christian throws a tantrum because that's his character.
Yeah.
He throws tantrums, and then JR calls him a baby and asks him if he needs a new diaper. Do you think that's going to get somebody over?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's something that you guys enjoy. Is that a good character?
No. And that's funny that Jim Ross would say something like that because he's so, he is the business when it comes to wrestling. He wants to try and get everybody over. I don't know. Leave that to Jerry,
Yeah. So the Dudley Boys come out next. And really this just exists because the Dudleys are accompanied by Stacy Keibler, the Duchess of Dudleyville.
Yeah.
So basically you have Stacy in one corner and Lita in the other corner. They eventually catfight. That's what the crowd wants, I guess, or what they perceive what the crowd wants. Jeff hits a somersault plancha on a Bubba on the outside. Diva goes for a DDT on the inside, but Matt counters into a roll-up and eliminates the Dudley Boys. Then the Dudleys give a 3D to Jeff on the outside, and which pretty much takes him out for the rest of the match because Billy and Chuck are next. Ooh, yeah, that whole deal.
Look so. Come on.
Dude, I fucking love Billy and Chuck.
So
I don't know if
did
it's just
I,
me.
yeah.
They're great.
And I think this was the evolution, right? This wasn't where they were hot just yet.
Right, yeah, this is right at the beginning.
Yeah.
What about you, Sec Daddy? You like Billy and Chuck?
Yeah. I mean, the tag team division today could use them.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not kidding.
It sucks. Yeah.
Billy and Chuck, I mean, like you said, it's been an evolution. The music is their first or second time using the music. They're really early on. But they're legitimately one of the most entertaining things in the company at this point. Maybe it doesn't hold up as well in 2021, you could say, but for the time, it was definitely entertaining. But Billy and Chuck, they basically pick the bones left by the Dudleys. Billy gives Matt a famouser, eliminates the Hardys, and then the APA comes out.
APA.
There we go.
Oh, thank God the APA is here to rid us of the gays, right?
Yeah.
That's what their thought process is. That's them talking, not me. But so APA comes out and basically culminates with Bradshaw taking off Billy's head with a clothesline from hell.
Yeah, dude.
Great sell from Billy Gunn.
I rewatched that. Holy shit.
So good.
Damn. I had to.
So the APA win here, even though they're in the match for a minute or two. They get a title match at WrestleMania, but so does everybody else. So
Yeah.
But yeah, overall thoughts on this match?
Dude, I miss Stacy. And she was so good with the Dudleys too, I don't know. I don't know if you can ever recreate that again. But overall, again, the theme of the pay-per-view for me, it was okay. But it was entertaining. I would, I don't know. I like the win. APA, that's good. I respect that. But again, we're getting a lot out of this pay-per-view. If this pay-per-view wasn't as entertaining as it should be, we're getting Billy and Chuck, APA kicking ass, Hardy's coming back, Stacy looking fine as hell. So
easy.
I'm happy. But again, theme of the pay-per-view for me, okay, cool, good, happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right team won. Creative got it right. APA should have won the match. So got no complaints. And Hardy's returned. I think they got a lot out of the match, honestly.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I would have had Billy and Chuck win, but I'll take the APA, I suppose. No complaints here. But yeah, solid way to open a show, I guess. Then after that, we go backstage, and Michael Cole is interviewing Ric Flair.
Oh, Michael Cole.
Woo! Bleach blonde tips, Michael Cole at his prime.
Yep.
And so Flair is basically saying that the NWO are full of shit. Undertaker interrupts and says that, hey, Flair, instead of focusing on the NWO, maybe you should focus who's watching you.
Yeah.
Why is he watching him? I don't know. But basically, this is building to their WrestleMania match between Taker and Flair. So it sets up an altercation, I guess, later in the night. So, but man, we got the match of the night coming up next. Rob Van Dam versus Goldust.
The match of the night.
Oh, yes. Man,
Jesus. Calm down there, buddy.
perfect.
Gold.
I told you to come on with the paint, but you didn't. So, I was kind of tongue in cheek when I said match of the night, but I'm looking at the card here, and that's probably not the craziest thing to say. In all honesty,
it's really not.
So, here's the backstory. There is none. So Goldust returned. Goldust returned at Royal Rumble, and he had a series of vignettes basically saying, "I've been keeping an eye on you," but not saying who it is. And eventually, he attacks RVD in the ring on Raw, and there's really been no motivations fleshed out. I guess maybe Goldust is jealous of Rob's success because RVD's been pretty red hot ever since he debuted. So I guess that's the reason. But even commentary, you have these guys coming out in their entrances, and I forget word for word what they said, but they're basically like, well, what's the beef between RVD and Goldust? And Lawler's like, I don't know. Is he jealous of him? And they're like trying to piece it together on commentary. It's like, if you guys can't figure out why these guys are fighting.
What the hell?
But I just got to take a second and say, Peacock. This is a match where Peacock's pissing me off because they already got rid of the Rob Zombie theme music for the pay-per-view. Yeah. Which I think they didn't dub over Edge's theme, right? Later?
I don't think so.
But they dubbed over the Rob Zombie. It was like
was it
I feel so numb. Yeah, that song.
Oh yeah. Which one was that for this match?
Well, it was for the pay-per-view. It was for No Way Out.
The theme song, got it. Yeah.
But they had like the generic boom boom.
Yeah.
Boom boom no like
because it was pretty generic for Stone Cold and Jericho's promo too. So I was thinking the same thing. I don't know.
Well, that in particular caught me off guard because it did not fit the the intensity of the promo at all.
Yeah.
But they also dub over here, which is why I bring it up. They dub over Rob Van Dam's theme song, which I don't remember ever being like a necessity to dub that over. Like I feel like they use that all the time. All the DVDs, all the VHSs. So it's like it was a weird.
This wasn't one of a kind, right?
No, it was his original, just as like instrumental, basically.
Got it.
The fucking Peacock, man, can't stand him. But don't get me started. But the match is okay. I mean, I wasn't really optimistic going into it, just because of the coldness of the build, and like you said, the crowd wasn't really into it, at least in the beginning.
So odd, yeah.
But at the end, it kind of picked up. You had a lot of good false finishes. RVD misses the 5-star. Goldust spikes him with a DDT for a good 2 counts. Goldust goes for the curtain call, but RVD flips out of it, hits a spin kick for 2.999. Really good false finishes towards at the end. Specifically, that's according to my calculations.
Yeah.
But ultimately, RVD blocks a kick, hits another spin kick, and then hits the 5-star frog splash for the win. Crowd's into it. I always measure how much a crowd is into it by how loud they count the 3 count, and they were into it at the end of it. So the match was fine for what it was. I even like the heat segments at the beginning with Goldust. I thought he was doing like a lot of unique stuff, like how he had RVD tied in the ropes and was like stretching him across the turnbuckle post, like stuff like that. So I actually enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought I would.
And you brought it up with Godfather. Is this starting to be PG for Goldust too? Like, I don't know.
I don't think they know what direction to go. I think that's the problem.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, RVD was over as hell, and you could hear that. Like you said, the pop. Yeah. So, again, is this just testing? Is this just, the bridge to WrestleMania, 18? I don't know, but they know they have something, and that's RVD, and that's gold, No,
Goldust is gold, actually.
Yeah.
Goldust is gold. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, RVD, he lost a lot of, because he came in red hot with the invasion. Yeah. Like, he was the one good thing that came out of that storyline. And it seems like he's kind of he's not quite going through the motions yet, but you can see, because you know where he would end up. Like, there was a period where he was just kind of stuck in the mid card. Yep. And it feels like they're kind of transitioning him. I don't even remember. What did he do at WrestleMania 18? Or was he even on the card?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to go back.
He might have been in like a hardcore title segment or something. Yeah. Like, it is what it is. But at least we get Goldust and Booker T soon. So
yeah, which is gold.
It is, some may say. Any other thoughts on this match?
Oh, RVD defeated Regal for the
Is it the European Championship? Oh no, Intercontinental.
Championship.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh hey, don't spoil the match later. Come on, man. This is what people came to see, is a brass knucks on a pole match.
Oh yes, that's next. Can't wait for that.
Well,
I'm sorry.
next.
What did you say?
Come on, Deeds.
We got some nonsense before that. Don't worry. So after that match, we go backstage, and Stone Cold meets the NWO.
Oh boy.
So we have all three of those guys walking up to Stone Cold backstage. Scott Hall hands Steve a 6-pack of Budweiser, and Steve says, "Well, I'm thirsty." So he's not thirsty for beer, I guess. So Steve grabs the 6-pack, throws it over his head, and walks away. So it seems like there's already planning for Austin versus Hall. So I guess, this is how they're using the NWO. It's a constant threat throughout the show. Hey, we're here to make peace. Here's some beer. But Steve's probably like, hey, you're probably going to poison me with that there beer or something. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
What his thought process is there. Then we have the... If you didn't get enough tag team wrestling from the opening match, we have the tag team titles on the line. The champions,
There we go.
Spike Dudley and Taz versus Booker T
Christ.
and Test. I'm confused why we have two makeshift tag teams fighting for the titles when we just saw a Turmoil match that had like 8 real teams fighting for in a match that had no stakes ultimately. But yeah, what'd you guys think of this tag team match?
It was okay. I mean, Tess really, gave it to Spike Dudley. That's all I could really remember. Taz was on the, apron waiting to be tagged in. It wasn't believable. It was almost like, it's like Marco Stunt going one-on-one with Wardlow. It's like, I don't believe it. But, Spike Dudley sort of kind of was our Marco Stunt. Probably not, because he was better in the ring. But regardless, what I'm saying is size. And it was unbelievable for me. Like, how can Taz choke out, who did he choke out to win?
Test.
I forget. But Tess, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't unbelievable, but again, it was okay. It was entertaining. Like, I'm not going to knock it, but it was just okay.
Right.
Right, yeah. Back like what you said about A-Train, Test wasn't used right in the WWE either. I think they could have got a lot more out of him. He was a big boy, and he was he was kind of in shape. He never let himself go, and like this tag match with him didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it was really start and stop for Test seemingly throughout his whole career. Like there was even a period before this, a few months ago, they were like building him up as if he was going to face The Rock at the Royal Rumble or something. But then they just kind of dropped it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of like, I guess Triple H came back and they were like, oh, we have another long, blonde-haired, jacked-up guy. We'll just use this one instead of this one. And then, I don't know. But
well, he looked great in his ECW days.
Oh, man. He was veiny. Lots of protein chicks.
Yeah. That's what we'll call it, right?
Yeah. That boy was eating his broccoli when he was in ECW. But yeah, I totally agree. My main takeaway from this match was watching Spike Dudley take bumps. Like that will never not be entertaining, especially when he's getting thrown around by guys like Test. But the finish comes when Spike goes for the Dudley Dog on Test, or he hits it, but he gets pulled out by Booker. Taz makes the cover, gets a 2 count. Test rolls up Taz with his feet on the ropes, but the ref catches him. So Test is pissed at this. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's that all about?" So he shoves the ref. The ref shoves back, and Test gets shoved right into a Taz mission, and Taz taps right away. So yeah, like you said, just a weird pairing. I get what they're going for, the underdog champions, but at this point they've like been champions for a while and they keep beating teams. So it's like it's a weird random push for someone like Taz who ends up on commentary within a matter of months. So bizarre. But it's a common theme with the shows. It's like
bizarre.
Why is this happening? But continuing with that.
Yeah, just wait, there's more.
Brass knuckles on a pole match.
Yeah.
Oh man, it sounds like something I just made up out of thin air, but that is a thing that happened here. Believe it or not, this is a culmination of a pretty long story between Edge and William Regal. And this is for the Intercontinental Championship. William Regal is champion, facing off against Edge. And really all it comes down to is Regal has been using Nux a lot in his matches. Yep. It's the power of the punch, as he calls it. He's using Nux to win all of his matches, even to the point where he's Intercontinental Champion. Him and Edge had a match at Royal Rumble in which Regal won using the Nux. Yep. Edge broke Regal's nose at one point. So it's been a back and forth thing. And now we're here. Brass knuckles on a pole. The match is, I mean, I feel like these guys have had better matches in their time. Yeah. There's one really, it was kind of an awkward, brutal spot where Regal is going for like a power bomb on the apron. But I guess Edge was supposed to be kind of doing a Hurricane Rana, but it just didn't really line up. But Regal took the bump anyway, and pretty harsh looking bump. But it's pretty back and forth. This match never really gripped me, but ultimately Regal grabs the Nux, or he has his hands on the Nux, but Edge suplexes Regal off the top rope, and the Nux go flying. But Edge kicks the Nux outside of the ring, so Regal can't use it. Edge hits the Edge-o-matic for a 2 count, which allows Edge to go outside and grab the Nux. Edge gets back in the ring. He's ready to swing at Regal. I'm going to knock you out, fella. But that goddamn William Regal already has brass knuckles in his tights. Pulls him out, unbeknownst to the referee. Hits Edge with a 2-piece. Knocks him out with the Nux. And Regal retains using the Nux once again. It just seems like a very one speed feud here. So but the match, it was fine, but it wasn't my favorite.
No, I mean that's what you get out of these kind of matches. But the funny part is, didn't the ref check Regal?
Apparently not well enough. Maybe he pulled him out of his asshole. Yeah.
I don't know. But it's a heel thing to do, and I dig it because I loved Regal back in the day. And I was happy for him. But, again, what's the theme? Okay, good. My dude went over. I'm happy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Match sucked, but the right dude went over.
Yeah.
No, which is cool, because the heelish way of how Regal wins, is perfect, Even if the storyline was, made up 2-3 months ago, it was still pretty good ending. It's just, maybe the crowd, or maybe it's just me, 30 now and going back and watching No Way Out 2002. I don't know, but it was different. I liked it. It was an okay match. Again, wasn't great. Wasn't Dave Meltzer 5.5 stars. It was an okay match, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, this pay-per-view as a whole is really just on the back of NWO.
Yeah, exactly.
NWO's here. That'll get people to pay for it. And it's where you're kind of noticing throughout all these matches, there's not a lot of great buildup for most of them.
Yeah.
Including this one. It kind of just felt like they were going through the motions.
Bingo.
But don't worry, Edge is on to better things shortly after this when he feuds with Booker T over a shampoo commercial. So, I guess all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
But after that, we have The Undertaker versus The Rock. So the build to this is very much a match where it's like, okay, we don't have anything for these guys. Let's just pair them together and see what happens.
Yeah.
Very, Undertaker and Rock, like Undertaker tombstone Rock on top of a limo, Rock hit Taker with a pipe the next, week or whatever.
Yeah. Off the bike, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of substance to the backstory, but that being said, I love The Undertaker in this era. Do you guys agree?
Agree.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Like heel, like he's very humanized, but it works with the heel character. Because he's no longer the dead man, obviously, but he's out there talking shit. He's out there like, jaw jacking with the crowd. Like he's opening up like a whole different level of charisma that it seems like it's giving him something different to do, and you could tell he's enjoying what he's doing out there.
Yeah. I mean, how do you transition out of the greatest character of all time? Like, come on. Like, that's tough. But, you know, Mark being, you know, one of the greatest of all time, he can do that, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
I just called him Mark, which is kind of weird. But
what a mark you are, huh?
Mark Calloway. I know all the names, damn it.
This guy's a wrestling fan, so what do you think of his match with Dwayne here, huh?
Yeah.
No, I mean, the match it was a solid match. I think these two have had better matches. Again, kind of a theme throughout the show, but it was fine for what it was. Rock comes out sprinting to the ring, comes out red hot. Taker eventually gets control. But towards the end, oh man, it's loaded with hullabaloo at the end here, this finish. So Taker hits a choke slam for a 2 count. So he gets frustrated, goes out to his bike, pulls out a lead pipe from his bike. I don't know if it's like a piece of the bike. I don't know if it's just a pipe that he hid in there. But he has it. The ref tries to stop him, but Undertaker just shoves him into the stairs. Guess it's fine because he's Mark Calloway, right? So he can get away with anything. And then, so he has the pipe, Undertaker does. But Ric Flair comes out. He's going to have none of this, Ric Flair. He comes out to take the pipe away from Undertaker, but just gets a boot to the face. Undertaker gets in the ring, swings the pipe at Rock. Rock evades the pipe and turns it into a sharpshooter onto the Undertaker. I know what you're thinking. You're like, I wish there's some more run-ins in this match. Well, I got you covered. Vince McMahon comes in, tries to distract the ref, because at this point, Vince and Flair are 50-50 owners of the company, and they've been at odds. They even had a street fight at the Royal Rumble, so they're basically, you know, you like this guy, and then I like this guy, so they're kind of conflicted there. So Vince is distracting the referee as Rock has Taker in the sharpshooter. So Rock's like, hey, fuck you, Vince. And he gets distracted with Vince, which allows Taker to get back up, take advantage. And he goes for a tombstone, but Flair's back in, hits Taker with a lead pipe, which allows Rock to hit the rock bottom for the win. So the Rock gets the win here. And but it's clear that like the issue between Rock and Undertaker is like non-existent, and that this is just here to set up WrestleMania.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a transition period, just like a lot of the other matches. You know, Rock's going to go on to Hogan, and Taker's going to go on to Ric Flair. So, I mean, on paper, this match is like, holy shit, dude, I can't wait to buy this pay-per-view. But, you know, it was okay. Again, transitioning, they're doing something more, doing something better with these two guys. But let's throw it on the card and see, you know, what happens. So it was another decent match. I'm not going to bury it. It was cool. It was cool. And I kind of like the run-ins, you know, it kind of gives the match something else, you know, other than, you know, 1, 2, 3, it's done. It's like, okay, Rick's here, Vince is here. And I don't know, just gave it something. Again, theme of the show, it was okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, you know?
Spot on. Yeah, I mean, like you said, if I looked at this pay-per-view and I looked at the card, I'd be ecstatic. These matches, they happen, and it's just like, it's okay. But this is obvious. This was really obvious, just leading to Undertaker versus Flair Mania. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what No Way Out, I guess, would be like in its entire existence. It's like it's a pivot point. It's a roadblock on the way to WrestleMania, really, ultimately. But after this match, we go to WWF New York. You guys
always
ever been there?
Always wanted to go there. No, always wanted to.
I heard their food was great.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. That's what I've heard. I've never been there, but I've heard that the food was atrocious. Or maybe that's the WCW one. WCW had one
Square,
too,
right? Oh, they did?
Yeah, they had like Hulk Hoagies and Kevin Nash strip steak. I don't know.
Are you making this shit up?
No, I know they had like their whole menu was like puns based on the wrestlers. I made up Hulk Hoagies, but it was probably
pretty good. Was that off the cuff? Because that was good shit.
No, whenever I get a hoagie, I'm like, oh, look at this Hulk Hoagie, bro. Like I say it to myself.
Brother.
Myself. But we're here at WWF New York, and Mr. Perfect is here.
Oh yeah, damn.
So it's interesting because Mr. Perfect returned at the Royal Rumble to a huge pop, huge ovation. Not only that, he's final 3 in the Royal Rumble with Kurt and Triple H. And Mr. Perfect is getting more cheers than the other two. And then the Royal Rumble happens, it's over. And then Mr. Perfect just seemingly vanishes. Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe he's having matches on Heat or something, but he literally makes... I've been watching the Raws and Smack. I don't watch the Heats. I'm not gonna do that. But he only made one appearance on one of the main shows, and he was playing chess with... It was like the college, because they were at some university, and it was like that college's champion in chess. Yeah. So Mr. Perfect is playing chess with them, and he like cheats to win, and it's like it's this really dumb segment. Of course. That's all it is. Like, why? How is this the way we're using Mr. Perfect?
Yeah, and he looked so good too. Like he was in shape. Yeah. Incredible. It seemed like he was in the best shape of his life. And I don't know what happened. What happened? Like he wasn't fired, right? Or he wasn't released.
So there's a whole thing, the plane ride from hell. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yes. Well, that involved Scott Hall too, right? Or Kevin Nash.
Yeah, that might have been.
And that's why okay. Now it's connecting. It makes sense now.
Yeah, I forgot about the Scott Hall Nash thing. Yeah, because that's how a lot of guys got fired, I guess.
So he was on the plane.
Yes. From what I understand. It's been a while since I've heard the story, but I'm pretty sure he was involved in that. Got it. But he's really, I mean, he's used very sparingly, and he's here at New York. Yeah. A really weird promo. Like you said, he's wearing like a leather jacket with no shirt. Yeah. And
he looks ripped.
he looks like the strongest dad in the world. Mr. Perfect does here.
There you go.
And he's out here, he's calling everybody in the audience ugly. They're like, hey, look at that guy's hair. Hey, look at that guy's teeth. Look at my body. Look at my back. Yeah. Not too much, though. It was really weird. Like, it didn't... It was just like, hey, throw... Perfect. Yo, ad-lib something. And that seems like what he... That was the kind of vibe I got from this. I don't know.
It was like the Mark Henry treatment, you know?
Yeah.
Go do something.
The Mark Henry treatment.
Yeah. Just nothing in the ring, you know?
Oh, man. But, that transitions into the match that probably had the most build. No, definitely had the most build out of any of the matches on this card. Triple H versus Kurt Angle. And this is for the #1 contendership for the undisputed world heavyweight title. And they're going to get a title match at WrestleMania, whoever wins this match. Yeah. And you might be saying to yourself, well, didn't Triple H win the Royal Rumble?
There you go.
It's a whole thing. Yeah. Man, so this backstory, let me tell you.
Let's hear it.
Are you guys familiar with the backstory of this match at all? I guess you saw like the promo package that kind of laid it out.
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces, but let's hear it.
So Triple H comes back from a quad injury at Madison Square Garden. He's hot. He's red hot. Everybody knows that the biggest pop we've ever heard. Monster baby face. He's super jacked. He's super wet. Triple H is back. And
moist.
Dude was dripping out there. But
Johnny drip.
He was the first moist master. The America's Most Wanted was Triple H here. So Triple H is a monster babyface, but Stephanie McMahon is a monster heel. So, and they're married on screen. So it's like, how does that work out? So the weeks go on, and they're slowly kind of building hostility between each other. Like Steph's trying to, she's basically has this idea that Triple H is this monster that she controls. And Triple H is like, I'm going to do my own thing. And as the weeks go on, the conflict kind of builds and builds to the point where they're like fighting in the ring. Like they're letting all their dirty laundry out there. And Triple H is about to say, fuck this, I'm out. But then Stephanie lays this on him. I'm pregnant.
Oh, her voice too. Oh my God. Dude, funny story. I was rewatching this.
Yeah.
And my wife's in the kitchen getting ready for work. And she says that. And she's like, what the hell are you watching?
I'm like, watching pro wrestling.
I'm getting ready, man. I'm getting ready to review a pay-per-view. I just thought that was funny.
I'm working here.
that voice is just, dude, it's like Vicky nowadays, you know?
Yeah. It's, God, dude. Stephanie McMahon's acting is horrendous. Like it takes me out of it. Like it's so like on the nose. Like she's like a cartoon character. She's like trying to be an evil person, but she's literally like she needs like a cat on her lap. Like she's that cliche evil person.
You know what? It worked for her father, but did not work for her. You know,
right? Well, it came
like
natural.
the over the top character. I mean, if you think about it, the promo that basically started this whole thing, Vince on SmackDown, you know, crazy over the top. But I'm getting into it. It doesn't work for her. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's funny. It eventually does, like in the future. But for some reason here, it's just not clicking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's I don't know what it is, but. So Stephanie says that she's pregnant, which, as we all know, if you have a relationship that's in turmoil and it's having issues, have a baby, it'll fix everything. So Triple H is fine now. He's like, oh, I'm going to be a dad. This is great. Even agrees to renew their vows on Raw. And so Raw starts, and amidst the show, Triple H learns that Stephanie McMahon is not pregnant. By God. And it's a whole thing like Stephanie had what do you call the guy that does the I'm
he was an actor.
It's basically the sonogram. Stephanie had a doctor,
basically.
right? But he learns that he's an actor, so he learns it's all a ruse. It's worth going back and watching. Anybody listening to this, it's great. But so they're out there renewing their vows. It's this long, drawn-out thing. And Triple H is like, I'm so glad I'm here, and I've found out who you truly are. A lying, no-good bitch.
Yep.
So good. So there's the split. Triple H even, like, he pedigrees Vince. He pie faces Stephanie. So they're done. And Kurt basically is the knight in shining armor that comes to save Stephanie, and ultimately Stephanie is the special guest referee for this match.
Yeah.
So how is Triple H going to get out of this one, folks? And the match itself, it is what, it's actually probably one of their better matches. The match that comes to mind when I think of these two is Royal Rumble 2001. And I wasn't really that into that match. I didn't think that was their greatest match. I thought this was better than that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously a lot of shenanigans. So Stephanie's the ref. The match starts with Kurt. And I do like the psychology here where Kurt's like just rolling up Triple H. So Stephanie can do the quick count, but she can't count fast enough.
No.
But towards the beginning, Kurt goes to clothesline Triple H, but Triple H ducks. And Kurt clotheslines the shit out of Stephanie, sending her flying over the top rope. Really great bump by Stephanie.
Yeah.
So Stephanie,
I think they had to. They had to get out of the match. I mean, come on.
You had to create some form of like, okay, Triple H could win this.
Yep.
So this brings Tim White to replace Stephanie as the ref. From that point, it's kind of back and forth, but then Kurt Angle eventually just clocks Tim White, just
from behind,
not an accident, just like, hey, fuck you, Timmy. Kurt hits the Angle slam onto Triple H, and Stephanie's back, thank God. So Kurt makes the cover, Stephanie counts, but Triple H kicks out because I do like this. So Stephanie she's still hurt, so now she can no longer fast count, I guess is the story, which is fine. I like that. Kurt locks in the ankle lock, which allows Triple H to kick Kurt Angle off, and Kurt goes cascading into Stephanie and knocks her out again.
Yeah.
Oh, so many rough bumps on this show, and we're just getting started. So Triple H hits a DDT, but there's no ref. Tries to wake up Tim White, but Kurt knocks Triple H into him. Kurt hits a German suplex and then grabs a chair. Kurt swings the chair at Triple H. Triple H ducks and hits a pedigree onto Kurt Angle. Tim White starts to make the count, but then Stephanie McMahon comes in with an elbow drop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which was a decent elbow drop, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest. It was very clear that she practiced this elbow drop a lot. And I'll call a spade a spade. It was a good elbow drop.
Yeah.
So Steph knocks out Tim White. After the elbow, she just kicks him in the balls. I feel like that was kind of unnecessary, but and then this causes Triple H to try to pedigree Stephanie, but then Kurt hits Triple H in the back with the steel chair, and then hits him in the face, and then hits him with the Angle slam, and Kurt Angle gets the win. So Kurt Angle's going to WrestleMania to fight for the title. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, again, this whole match was the setup is odd. Like Triple H won the Rumble. Why is he in this match? Yeah. But I don't hate it because it gives, the storyline something that it needed.
Stakes.
It needed something. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The funny part is when Angle wins, he just goes, he gets to his car and he drives away in his ring attire. It's like, well, cool, but it's, I don't know. I dug the match. I've said throughout the whole show, okay, decent match. This match, I liked. Stephanie, yes, I could have done without her. But overall, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I said it earlier, but I kind of like when it's, there's something else. There's an interference. Mm-hmm. There's something that happens during the match. It just makes it more interesting, more intriguing. So I dug it. It may be an unpopular opinion here, but I liked it. I don't know. I don't know. It's just what's next for Triple H. Obviously, we know now, but 2002, it's like, dude, he won the Rumble. What else does he need to do?
It creates intrigue. It makes you want to tune in to Raw the next night.
Exactly.
This is not the Universal Wrestling podcast, but I'm going to disagree with you. Stephanie made that match. If Stephanie was not the guest referee, that match would not be as entertaining as it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the elbow drop, you mentioned it.
Yeah, that was the best.
It was
part.
so stiff, but so effective.
Yeah. But I didn't think it needed the main event, that WrestleMania, the title on the line, number one contender. If they just had the match with Stephanie, it would have been all right.
Yeah,
that's.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. I kind of like the stakes being involved. Yeah. I'm not really familiar with how they get out of this because obviously Triple H goes to face the champion.
Yeah.
But I guess.
And then who does Angle face? Is that this
Kane.
is 2000? Oh shit.
And I feel I don't really know what the story. I've seen WrestleMania. I've never seen the build up to it, and it didn't really seem like they had much of a story either. No. So WrestleMania really was just a one match show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You have Booker T and Edge fighting over shampoo. You have doesn't Molly Holly win the hardcore title or something? I don't know.
Something. Yeah.
Maven's there.
But again, I mean, Triple H looked ripped. Angle was in his prime. I mean, it was a good match. Was Stephanie necessary? Obviously, I'm going to disagree. I don't think so. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I guess I'm not going to say it's great, an amazing match, but I thought it was okay. It was an okay match.
Yeah, it served its purpose at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bingo. Yep.
But after that, we go backstage. And now The Rock meets the NWO, which is now a famous segment. All three of these guys walk in. The Rock, he has the ice on his neck after his match with Taker. But Hogan, he just wants a picture for his kid. Yeah. Big Rock fan. It's his kid's. It's Nick, I guess, right? Is his favorite wrestler. The Rock, which as an avid Hogan's Knows Best watcher, very familiar.
Yeah, it should be a little bit more parenting.
Which, by the way, that show, you can't find that show anywhere now. You gotta go into the dark web.
What was it on? E or something?
VH1, I think.
VH1, of course, yeah.
I watched every episode. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I
kind of watched Total Divas. I don't know if that's.
Okay, I won't go that far.
No. I did watch Total Divas too. Once John Cena was gone, I stopped watching.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
My fiance is really into Total Divas, Total Bellas, and literally, if I walk by it and just sit down for a second to watch it, I will watch 5 episodes because it sucks you.
I think that's it. Yeah.
But no divas here. We just got the NWO and The Rock. And, making fun of Diesel and Razor Ramon back there. And again, definitely Rock is mainly focused on Hogan here. So it's clear that they have that vision in mind for WrestleMania. So Pretty much just planting the seed once again for that.
Yep.
But the main event, the
Yes,
WWF is a mouthful. The WWF Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. You have Jericho with his stupid 2 belts.
Yeah.
It's Chris Jericho, the champion, defending against Steve Austin. And this is, I believe, Stone Cold's last title match that he would ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin, he's at the end of his rope here. I mean, he's like, you can kind of tell the what thing, it's entertaining. Like he can have fun with that, but ultimately he doesn't really have a lot of substance to his character. Like they're kind of just reverting back to, hey, this worked in 98. Let's just try to do the exact same thing and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I feel like the crowd, they were into it. Like I'm not gonna pretend like they weren't into Stone Cold because they were. Yeah. But when you compare it to what he used to be, it definitely feels like a downgrade a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
This match, I mean, it was a good match. At no point, maybe I watched it too late or something, but this match never really gripped me. It was a lot of, I'll tell you this, when people fight like in the crowd or like in the aisleway, I like tune out. I don't know what it is, because it's like, I know the match isn't going to end there, and I know it's just going to be a bunch of punch, or whip you into this wall, whip you into it for like forever. And it feels like that's like a lot of what this match was.
Well, bringing that up, there was a lot of Irish whips.
Yeah. Were there more Irish whips or more chops?
Chops. I was going to, yep. Yeah.
Dude.
But it just seemed like nonstop, you know? I haven't seen a match like that in years, you know? Nowadays, it's like break, throw them to the, you know, throw them out of the ring, you know, wait, commercial, come back, okay, breathe. Here, it was just nonstop. I mean, I don't remember how many times, but I think Austin superplexed Jericho like 3 or 4 times. Like the action just didn't stop.
I think he did it on every corner. I could be wrong, but it was at least 3 of them for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy considering Austin's neck and back at this point. Like he's doing superplexes willy-nilly like this. And
they both did not seem blown up either.
No,
it was just nonstop. I love that kind of that's my kind of wrestling, but you know.
Yeah. It's almost like they were trying to best each other. It's like, it wasn't a shoot fight by any means, but it's like, I'm going to chop you. Let's use chops hurt more and see if you can suffer through them.
Yeah. Or Steve Austin was bringing him to school, you know?
Yeah.
Showed him how, you know, it works here in the WWF.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the match, like we said, a lot of chops, a lot of fighting on the outside.
Yeah.
Towards the end, so we got more shenanigans. So Jericho locks in the walls. Austin's in it for a while, eventually gets to the ropes. Jericho's frustrated. He goes to the outside, grabs the title, and eventually hits the breakdown onto Austin, which is a skull crushing finale, basically.
Okay.
Little known move.
I was going to ask you that.
The breakdown. Never really caught on the breakdown.
Yeah.
Never really hit it as well as The Miz does, which is a weird thing to say. Chris Jericho can't do it as well as Mike Mizanin. But Jericho goes for a clothesline on Austin, but Austin ducks, and we get another ref bump. So the ref gets clotheslined. Austin actually locks in the walls of Jericho. Jericho taps out, but there's no referee. So Austin's trying to wake up the ref, which allows Jericho to get back up. Jericho tries to hit Austin with the belt, but gets a stunner, which causes, because the ref's still out, that goddamn New World Order comes out, and they all beat up on Austin. NWO for life. And
they spray paint his bat,
Oh, it's classic, man.
We're not there yet. Come on.
He's blown his load already. Because we gotta mention that Scott Hall hit Stone Cold with a Stone Cold Stunner.
And it was so bad.
It was really bad.
It was
very
whatever.
bad. So that lays out Austin and allows Jericho to make the cover. Jericho gets the win. So Jericho's off to WrestleMania, and Austin's still laying in the ring. The NWO attacks, after the match, they paint, like you said, they paint NWO on Austin's back. Just rekindling their old characters from WCW. And that's basically how the show ends. So Jericho's champ, NWO and Austin clearly have a beef. Yeah. And that's No Way Out. Like we said, it's a transition show. Yeah. To me, like watching this show in a vacuum is kind of a weird thing because there's not a lot of build to these matches, and like a lot of stuff on this show doesn't really matter really within a month. But we had some good wrestling and some pretty entertaining stuff on this show. And the debut of the NWO is a huge moment for the company, even though with hindsight, we know what it ends up becoming. Yeah. But at the time, a huge moment for WWF. So, but as far as that main event goes, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Jericho can go. I wasn't a big fan back in the day, but now looking back at it, hindsight's 2020, dude, give that man props. They always say he should be on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know about that, but he should be there. He should be close to it. Dude, he could go, and he went with Stone Cold. That's impressive. The amount of chops, the amount of Irish whips. Think about it. Irish whips, they hurt. Those ropes hurt. The chops, they hurt. Dude, he went. He went to school with Stone Cold, and, he won. I loved it. I thought it was a great match. Again, build up matches, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great main event.
Yeah, it was a great match, and this is actually one of Jericho's better runs with the WWE when he was undisputed champion. I really enjoyed his run as undisputed champion, and like Dieter Ding said, I mean, he's up there as one of the greats. I mean, I want to put him on my Mount Rushmore, but he's up there. I mean, he's still doing it today. He's still doing it today.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agreed. I feel like when people think of his undisputed title run, they think of WrestleMania and they think of him following Hogan Rock. So people might have this perception like, oh, it wasn't that great. And, good
point.
It wasn't the best, but it definitely had its moments. And I think Chris Jericho was a really strong character at this point. Like he was a really hateable dude. So he fit perfect as that character, kind of how he fit in there. Like you said, one of the GOATs. I mean, longevity, evolution, in-ring, on the mic. I mean, when you factor in all these facets of pro wrestling, it's hard to put anybody above Chris Jericho, for sure.
Yeah. And the main thing I take away from Jericho and his character when I was younger, I mean, I'm 30 now, so I know kayfabe, I know all that bullshit. But dude, I hated him so much, and it just it worked. It did him justice. It did his character what it needed to do. So excellent.
Yeah, he beat The Rock in Austin in one night, and then he went to Royal Rumble and beat The Rock again, and now he's here and beat Steve Austin again. So he's racking up these wins, and he's building some credibility, even though he's winning in these shady ways. But he's building a title reign. So going into WrestleMania, I feel like that was a smart way to go about it. So,
and dude, Hebner can take bumps.
Oh man, best in the business. But yeah, that brings the show to a close. Yeah, any other overall thoughts on this show?
I mean, not the show, but Vince's promo. I feel like we kind of have to talk about it, right? Yeah. I mean, so that basically started this whole thing, and
talking about the one where he turns in this chair.
Yeah. The NWO's on the back of the chair.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. NWO is in the WWE. How do you believe that? It's happening. And again, this pay-per-view, was it, great? No, it wasn't. It wasn't amazing, but NWO is in the WWE. It's a big freaking deal. WWF, whatever. But that's my takeaway. It's a big deal. The pay-per-view wasn't amazing, but holy shit, Hogan, Nash, Hall, they're here. I don't know. It was cool to watch. I loved going back and watching this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that promo where he's basically, because it all stems from him and Flair being 50-50 partners, and Flair is kind of getting the upper hand. So he's like, well, if you're going to be a part of this, well, I'm just going to destroy it all. And that's why he brings in the NWO. It's kind of a weird storyline. Yeah. But like you said, it's the NWO. in WWF, a surreal thing.
Exactly.
Maybe jumps the shark when they start adding like Booker T and stuff into it, but we'll get to that later. Sack Daddy, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, just hedging off what Dieter Ding said, it's crazy that who would have thought NWO would be the WWF at the time. And, I mean, I loved it as a fan back then. I loved it. And the pay-per-view was, the pay-per-view was just, but they made the pay-per-view. So it was all about them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like we said, transitional pay-per-view, but it was aight. I'll give it an aight.
There you go.
But what is not aight, what is great is the Universal Wrestling Podcast.
Yes,
thank you guys once again for making the time to watch the show, come on here, talk about it. Always a great time. Where can everybody find you guys and listen to you guys?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be almost a year, September 29th. So we're going to have a big show.
Oh, awesome.
This month celebrating, 1 year. But you can find us on Twitter at the UW Pod and Instagram at UW Podcast. And we're going to, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple. We're on Podbean. So just Google us, the Universal Wrestling Podcast. And Kyle, it's been a pleasure. Thanks again for having us on.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Once again, thank you to Nick and Sack Daddy for joining me on this episode. Always a good time with those guys. Go check them out. Universal Wrestling Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow them on Twitter at the UW Pod. Check out their website, uwpod.com. All that in the description as always. And check me out at apronbump.com. If you like this era of wrestling, if you like this era of the WWF, go to apronbump.com, hit the episodes tab, and you can select Attitude Era. And that'll bring you all my reviews from basically from Royal Rumble 2001 up till now. So you can binge away if you're a new listener, or if you just want to listen to me again, that's cool too. But I'll show you the way out of this episode here because it's no way out. Didn't work in the intro. It didn't work in the outro. So I don't know why I tried it again. Yeah. I guess I could just stop talking, right? That would bring the episode to an end. There's no easy way out. Rocky IV. Okay. Fuck me. Thank you guys once again for listening. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest.